Alright, on a new computer, so I think the volume's adjusted properly. Quamsit. How much something is assiduous, which is constant. How constant is invidia? That's begrudging and envy. It's a comb, so it's a companion of eminent fortune. So anyone who has a high place and high fortunes, this envy is a companion, assiduously, continuously. They stick to the Most High. So the Most High in society you get to, you get a lot of envy. Even this is able to be collected or gathered by this which Nemo, no one interpelled or forbidden or was against the triumph of these two people, Anicius and Octavius, but there were, Fulre, those who strove to impede the triumph of another genitive of Paulus. Curious of him, or of his triumph, he exceeded the prior ones a great deal. Vel, so it's probably even an or. So even with the magnitude of King Perseus, or with these specky simulacrums. Simulacrums are images, so in the appearance of statues, so he's exceeded the prior ones, even of this king, even of the amount of statues, and even modo, in the way of money here. So that bis, which means twice or two, million centium sestertium, that's sestertes are coins, so it's 2 million or something, 2 million sestertes he intolerated or brought into the treasury. And he vicarented, he conquered or was greater than, in amplitude, of all of the or all of the acts before him, all of the triumphs before, when you compare them. 10. Per this time, same time, when Antiochus Epiphanes, then the king of Syria, who had began the Olympics at Athens, what has he done here? He's besieged Pompey the boy at Alexandria. A legate was sent to him, Popilius Laenus, who ordered him to desist this inception, this war that he was besieging here. He exposed or placed out in the public this mandate, this order, and the king saying himself that he would deliberate. While the king was saying this in the accusative, he's circumscribed with a stick. He's drawn around in a stick, and he ordered him prior to give a response, then leaving this sand, the fines of the circle, the outline of the circle. Before he steps out of this circle, he has to give a response. 3. Now, looks dative to Lucius Paulus, the guy who had composed a victory or obtained victory at Macedon. Here's the nominative. There were 4 sons to him. From these, 2 were older in birth. One was of P. Scipio, the son of Africanus, adopted sons. Nothing from their paternal majesty, their literal father, other than the appearance and his name and his vigour of speaking, were retained. These were given in adoption. The other child of these first 2 is Fabius Maximus. The 2 minor in birth, 2 younger ones, were at that time praetextados. They were prae, before the period of wearing the toga, and the time when he adeptus victory, when he obtained victory, he had these sons. 4. He, when in an assembly, a contion, outside of the city, in the way of the ancestors, before the day of the triumph, which was ordained, he commemorated in this assembly his prior acts and his deeds. He precatus test, he prayed to the immortal gods, God's immortal, however you want to say it, that if someone, see quiz, if one of these sons, it looks like, envied his works and fortune, they should savage towards him rather than towards the republic. 5. Which voice, or voicings of words, as if emitted from an oracle, despoiled him of a great part of his bloodline. For one from his boys, that he retained in his family, had with him in his family area. A few days before the triumph, looks like, of these children's, he's lost one of them a few days before, and the other a few days later he lost. 6. Around these asperous and harsh times, in the censorship, there was these two guys. 4. His brother, the brother of the censor, they were co-sors, like co-sorts in English. They both held the job at the same time, indeed. This guy, that should be a G, I suppose, in English. This Fulvius, he was motus. He was removed by the Senate from these censoribus, and probably the adoption and airing or something, I think the Loeb says. 11. Post defeat and capture of Persian, the Greek name there, who for 4 years post was in liberal custody. They say he'd been bailed out or something, so he was on probation. He died at Alba. Pseudo Philip, he was called this by simulation of his origin. That's a lie, basically. He lied about his origin. Who was ferrebating that he was of the stirp, or the offspring of the royal offspring of Philip, I guess. That's why he's Pseudo Philip. When he was a setting, in fact, of Ultima, which apparently here means he was lowly. There are other words for it, but it was all a lie anyway. Anyway, with arms, Macedonia was occupied. What do we do? Briefly, he paid the punishment, debt at Poenus, of his rashness, and when he had assumed all the royal insignia. 2. Since King Metellus was praetor, by his virtues, he had been given the name of Macedonia, the cognomen. In a praeclara victory, a very famous victory, he overcome, supervited the very race itself as well as this guy, and in a huge battle, he routed even the Achaeans, who were beginning a rebellion.